I was a poor sleeper as a child. Even through my adolescence and young adulthood, when most people sleep like zombies, I always slept very light and woke somewhat early, no matter how late I stayed up. I rarely slept more than 6 hours a night, no matter what. Throughout my 20s, I was drunk and on dope a lot. It made no difference how drunk I'd been. I still woke up after about 6 hours, even on the weekends with no school or work. During my dope days, I could be up for 3 to 4 days in a row on powerful amphetamines. And whereas my drug addict associates would hit the sleep wall and conk out for 20 hours straight, I would sleep maybe 7 or 8 and wake up for most of the day. It would take me several days to pay back the sleep debts I accumulated when I didn't sleep for a few days. Each night that you sleep less than the amount your body and mind need, you create a sleep debt. This sleep debt carries over, and within a few nights, you can owe several hours of sleep. This means that if you require 8 hours of sleep to function well, but have only gotten 6 hours of sleep each of the last 2 nights, then you owe 4 hours. So instead of your usual 8 to feel rested, you now need 12. You owe 4 hours, and until it's paid back, you won't feel rested. Sleep debts can be paid back quick by one extended sleep, or slow, like an extra hour of sleep over 4 nights to pay back 4 hours. If you've been accumulating a large sleep debt over several months, then your mind is functioning on only a small percentage of its capacity, and that's why you subscribe to this solution, to reset it right. The good news is that even if you've got a 20 to 30 hour sleep debt over several months, you won't need to pay back the whole thing. You'll be able to pay it mostly back and gradually over time instead of a week-long coma. Once we get you sleeping well, you'll slowly pay back that debt and be right as rain. Hey, here's some good news. Sleep science used to say that you not only had to pay back a sleep debt, but that it was impossible to build a sleep credit. The good news is that sleep science has modified this and now says you can indeed build a small sleep credit. If you get a few nights more than your minimum required amount, you may have a few extra sleep hours in the bank to help you when you get a little short on sleep. I'm living testimony to this. My standard minimum sleep amount is 6 hours. 6 hours and I function at about 98%, but 5 hours and 59 minutes and I am toast. But if I get several nights of 7 or 8 hours and then have only a few nights of only 5, I don't even notice it for about 3 days. Now the bad news, even though science has shown us that we can build sleep credits, we can only build a small and limited amount, whereas sleep debt can keep accumulating. Now you may have noticed I mentioned that my minimum sleep need is 6 hours, and you're probably familiar with the standard concept of people needing 8 hours. Well, as you may assume with common sense, each person is indeed different. Some need 6, some need 8, some need 10. The universal standards for sleep, water, carbs, and so-called balanced meals is from the friggin' Stone Age. We are all different, and this is where LifeMind solutions succeed where other things fail. I customize, but I can tell you this. In my years as a sleep specialist, I've yet to know anyone who requires less than 6 or does well with more than 10. There are a lot of people who think they are fine with 4 or 5, and many who think they require 12 or more, but upon careful analysis, these people are not functioning at 100%. The mind adjusts to the problem of either too much sleep or not enough sleep by becoming somewhat numb to it. So even if they think they feel fine, they're not. It just becomes their new normal. How do we know? Because once we adjust their sleep amounts to the right ones for them, they begin to function at a way higher level and feel much better too. The results of sleep deprivation are the same for sleep saturation. Both the not enough sleeper and the too much sleeper feel tired, muddled, or foggy and more easily overwhelmed by stressors and obligations. Even high-functioning overachievers, once they get the scientific right amount, they feel different and then can see how it was affecting them. So the question is, how do we know how much we need if everyone is different? Unfortunately, it is a bit of a process to figure this out. It takes experimentation. Most of us actually have this information stored on our minds already, so we just need to access it. We're going to consider a few things this session to try to determine this, and then we'll nail it down dead on soon. You may already know your right sleep amount. This is the amount that if you get it right on, you feel good, think clearly, solve problems, and don't get too overwhelmed by stress too easily. If we get any less than this or any more than this, we have shorter temper and are more emotional than reasonable about things. If you know this amount, good, and if you don't, let's not worry about it for right now. It'll all come out in the wash. For those who are not getting enough sleep, the right amount will reveal itself as you begin to sleep properly. Your body and mind will adjust over time and wake up naturally once you get the right amount. For example, I don't use alarm clocks and haven't for decades. I don't need them. My body and mind wake me up when it is rested. I typically wait to go to the bathroom and then I return to bed. The sleep fog wears off and I feel rested. If I've not got the right amount, I'll return from the toilet and within 5 to 20 minutes, I'll return to sleep. This is trippy because I'm convinced I'm awake. At some point, I find myself thinking how weird and odd my thoughts are and realize that they're odd and weird because I'm dreaming. I'm not even awake. For those who sleep too much, hypersomnia, it's a bit trickier to program the right amount because your body and mind don't wake you when you've had enough. Hypersomnia people are not watching this though, as I've made a sleep solution just for them. If you sleep too much, then please contact my customer service and ask to switch your solution to the hypersomnia solution right away. This one can't help you. All right, back to the matter. To determine your optimum sleep quantity, do two things. 1, contemplate your sleep history and see if you can deduce the right amount. 2, start paying attention to the amount of sleep you get and start ranking your rest quality, 1 through 10. Very rested and just right is a 1, and totally exhausted is a 10. So a 5 would be a feeling moderately rested but getting groggy by midday or late afternoon. Do not calculate and track this by writing it down. I just want you to make a mental note each day to mentally document how you feel, 1 through 10. Wait till about midday or so and see how you feel, not the morning and not at night. Neither of those are reliable. And I don't want you to write it down because I don't want you getting neurotic about it and having those figures keeping you up at night. Don't worry about remembering the so-called score. You'll slowly get to know it. So think of it once midday and then forget about it. That's it for that exercise for now. We'll revisit that subject later when it becomes useful in a later session. Now, we're going to continue our talk about sleep hygiene and sleep rituals. Routines are powerful ways to program our minds. It is natural to resist living by routine, especially if you're young, because you don't want to live a boring, predictable life. But routines do not deprive us of spontaneity. They actually make spontaneity way more accessible to us. It's counterintuitive when the trivial, insignificant things like meals, exercise, chores, and work are routine. This allows us to be free, to be spontaneous in any and all other areas of our life. When my trivial obligations are set and routine, I don't have to waste time thinking about them or figuring them out. Instead, I can devote my thoughts to how to spend my free time the way I want. My mind is free to consider anything I want because the planning part of my duties is done. I can be impulsive in my free time because I don't have to think or worry about those things. My appointments are in my calendar, so I don't need to know them. I can look them up whenever I need to, usually not until morning. I don't need to think about that right now. Trash goes to the curb on Friday, so I don't need to give it a thought until Thursday night. I don't have to look it up, figure it out, or worry about missing it. It's routine, so until Thursday night, I don't have to give it a thought or a moment of my time. I'm free! The real value of having sleep rituals and routines is to not only be free of the concerns of the details, but because routines program our subconscious to know what to expect and to get in step with what's needed. Example, if you smell food and are standing in the kitchen, your mind and body conjures feelings of hunger, even if you just ate. The kitchen is an environment your mind associates with eating. You don't go into a bathroom and associate it with eating dinner. I hope not anyway. Quite the opposite. Your subconscious is programmed to associate the kitchen with eating. This is an example of how a ritual like making dinner in a kitchen and routine like a regular dinner time evokes and activates certain responses from you. I will bring the point home now by using my own sleep ritual routines as an example. Each night I perform the same or similar sequence of actions before bed. My bedtime is around 10:30. I like to get up around 6, so this is a good 7 hours plus for sleep ritual and for sleep and waking slowly too. I have a snack around 9:30. I finish watching whatever I'm watching on TV. I turn out the lights and the TV off. I go to my room and turn on my bedside reading light and pull back my bed covers. I strip my day clothes off and go into the bathroom. I wash and brush my teeth and then use the toilet. I put on whatever I'm sleeping in and lie down and get comfy on my back with my head propped up a bit. I grab my bedside book and read until my eyes get tired. I switch off the bedside light and allow myself to think of random, harmless things, turning away from serious thoughts, and sleep occurs. Now, we got to analyze this a little so you can design your own sleep hygiene ritual with mine as a template. Ready? Okay. I have a snack around 9:30, usually toast or a small second helping of leftover dinner. It is light enough to not be heavy and is easily digested. I finish whatever I'm watching on TV. This kills some time with my snack and a little after to digest a bit. I turn out the lights and the TV off. I've been in a dimly lit room already to minimize light exposure to my pineal gland. Bright light before bed is bad. I go to my room and turn on my bedside reading light and pull back my bed covers. I strip my day clothes off and go into the bathroom. I wash and brush my teeth and then use the toilet. I put on whatever I'm sleeping in and lie down and get comfy on my back with my head propped up a bit. Going to sleep on your back is best. Once asleep, your body will adjust accordingly, but going to sleep is healthier and easier while on your back. I grab my bedside book and read until my eyes get tired. My bedside lamp is dim and is amber colored. Very important. I read things that are a little challenging, but not so fascinating I can't put them down. A little challenging will fatigue my brain and my eyes and prevent my overactive mind from thinking about my worries and concerns. Reading is a great distraction. I switch off the bedside light and allow myself to think of random, harmless things, turning away from serious thoughts. I don't have to get up to turn out the lights. It's within reach. You can use the meditations I've designed for you or sample some of your own. I fall asleep. You may not. It'll take a while for your mind to identify this as a pattern, so it's going to resist as usual for a while. Keep the sleep hygiene up and give it time. Now, it may take some time to get comfortable and settle on a routine and order, so don't freak out if it doesn't change your life right away. Just keep doing your routine the same order once you've established one you prefer. In other words, it makes no difference if I pee first and brush after or vice versa. The only thing that matters is that you begin to do things in the same order after a while. For the first week or so, it may be a little stressful to try to remember the order, but don't worry about that. It'll become routine over time. Do the best you can to keep track, and don't be afraid to cheat by using a little memo note on the bathroom counter. Less stress, more rest. We want to establish good sleep hygiene as early as possible. Your sleep training and hypnotherapy will get a turbo boost from good sleep hygiene. I'm going to give you a to-the-point list of items to include in your sleep hygiene. Please apply these sleep hygiene rituals, and we'll go over them in more detail soon. 1. Do not work from bed, ever. 2. Make your bed every morning. Do this immediately upon waking unless you share a bed with someone who's still sleeping. Number 3. Do not leave TV on when time for sleep. Spouses and bedmates will need to adjust to this for you. Ask them nicely and offer a massage or to make breakfast because their sacrifices need to be appreciated. Here's how this works. With repetition and association. When you repeat an action over and over, it gets imprinted in your subconscious. And as you subtly think of why you're doing it, in this case to rest, you're building an association with the behavior. This is the magic formula for behaviors becoming habits. No matter what it is, it may take a few nights or even a couple weeks for your mind to connect the dots on these sleep hygiene rituals, but it will eventually do it. This I can assure you. It is so definite that there is actually a small downside from it. My sleep rituals and routines work so well that if I don't do them, I can't fall asleep. One time I traveled to Chicago and was totally exhausted from getting up early in air travel, and by the time I got to my hotel, all I wanted to do was pass out. So I went right to bed, skipping everything. I didn't give a crap about brushing my teeth, having a snack, or reading a book. And within a few minutes of lying there, I couldn't sleep. I was lying there staring at the ceiling, feeling insomniac. I grunted and groaned and got up and did the routines, wash, brush, etc. But when I went to grab my book, it wasn't there. I forgot to pack it. And I could not fall asleep since my brain only understood to sleep after all my rituals and routines, and that included reading, were done. Okay, I thought, no problem. Reach into the bedstand and get out the good old Gideon's Bible. And there wasn't one. I found the only hotel with no Bible when I needed it the most. I'm not joking about this when I tell you that I put on my pants, took the elevator to the friggin' lobby to get a stack of brochures to read. Once back in bed, reading these ridiculous brochures, I was asleep within minutes. So the upside is that sleep hygiene rituals work, but the downside is that you become dependent on them the same as a sleep drug. But hey, drugs are toxic and addicting and eventually don't work. So where's my good night book? All right, we're out of time for now. So I have to wait till next session to learn about the 5 stages of sleeping and dreaming. Remember, knowledge is power, and besides, if it gets boring, it might make you fall asleep. Either way, it's a win.